China has fired rockets toward Taiwan on its second day of military drills around the island. The Defense Ministry in Taipei confirmed Chinese troops carried out live-fire exercises again on Tuesday. Beijing says the drills are a warning to the self-governing territory, which it sees as a breakaway province. Taiwan's president has expressed his, quote, strongest condemnation of the drills, accusing Beijing of deliberately trying to undermine regional stability.
Day 2 of China's show of strength. China's military released this footage evidently to demonstrate its ability to ward off any external armed support for Taiwan. It sent destroyers, frigates, fighters and bombers to the waters surrounding the island. There, Beijing's forces carried out long-range, live-fire drills for a second day.
Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The relevant drills conducted by China's People's Liberation Army are a punitive response to Taiwan independent separatist forces seeking independence by force, and a necessary action to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity.
The Taiwanese military released this footage of its Coast Guard warning a Chinese Coast Guard vessel that it had entered its waters unlawfully.
Your actions have disrupted the order and safety of our territorial waters. Please, immediately change course. Immediately change course.
Taipei was quick to decry the drills as, quote, highly provocative and reckless.
Such actions demonstrate that China not only fails to uphold global and regional peace and stability, but also repeatedly challenges the principles in the UN Charter regarding the prohibition of the use of threats and force, continuously undermining the international order.
People in Taiwan are worried, yet many are responding to the drills with stoicism.
The intimidation effect isn't that strong for us. This isn't something new. They threaten all the time. China threatens any country it sees as a threat.
War? Impossible. It's just posturing. People are scaring themselves. If they really attack Taiwan, they would have to pay a price. We wouldn't just sit there and let them attack us.
But even if the people of Taiwan are not unused to the drills, each round serves as a reminder of the precarious situation in the Taiwan Strait.
Well, DW correspondent Rik Glauert is in Taipei following these developments. Rick, let's take, first of all, a quick look at that map showing the different zones where the Chinese military is conducting drills. Taiwan looks pretty much surrounded to the north and south. Tell us, what's Beijing trying to achieve or signal here?
Yeah, well, as you said, these exercises have pretty much encircled Taiwan. Beijing showing that it has the ability to blockade Taiwan, but significantly also deter other outside forces from coming to Taiwan's aid. So on the one hand, these exercises are practice, they're drills. On the other hand, they're also a demonstration of China's abilities. And in terms of what signal it's giving, well, China has made it very clear with countless social media posts and state media articles saying that this is a stern warning to what it calls Taiwan separatists. That's the government here that rejects China's claims of sovereignty over Taiwan. What's new with these ones is that it's also saying that it's a warning to the people that would come to Taiwan's aid, to those what China calls external outside forces.
In our report, we saw a Taiwan Coast Guard ship there confronting a Chinese vessel, telling it to change course. How risky are moments like that when tensions are already this high?
Well, that is, of course, the big risk, the big worry that with all of this uptick in activity, that this could end to a miscalculation, a clash that could escalate things. It could even, be a pretext for China to conduct other exercises or other retaliation. But Taiwan has put its military on high alert. There's been a lot of mobilization. Taiwan has been scrambling its jets. It's been mobilizing soldiers, putting out anti-missile defense systems, and it's been sending boats, like you've seen, out to challenge Chinese ships that have come into its waters, saying that it's determined to protect Taiwan's freedom and democracy. But crucially, Taiwan has also been saying that it doesn't want to escalate anything and that it will act responsibly. Taiwan's president today has also been saying how these activities by China disrupt regional stability. You know, it affects international shipping, international air routes that have been forced to redirect because of these live fire exercises.
Well, these drills follow news that Taiwan is purchasing a huge U.S. weapons package. Beijing is furious about that. Can these drills, Rik, be seen as pressure on Taiwan to reconsider that purchase?
Well, it's always hard for us to know exactly why China does its drills when. You know, Taiwan had predicted that China would be doing some drills before the end of this year, but China has been very upset about that big weapons package from the US, 11.1 billion in weapons, including things like HIMARS, to Taiwan. There's also some other regional tensions in that, you know, China's very angry with Japan after the Japanese leader said that Japan could become involved if China made a move on Taiwan. But, you know, this activity like this by China is not stopping anyone from buying weapons. In fact, it's making countries in the region spend more. Taiwan, it has been spending record amounts on weapons. That's both buying from the US as well as building up its own domestic weapons industry. Japan has been spending more on defense, and other countries in the region like South Korea, Philippines and Australia have all been working together and with the US to bolster their defenses and cooperation in response to China.
Looking at Taiwan itself, Rik, what's your sense of how nervous people there are about these growing tensions with the mainland?
Well, on the one hand, you know, the threat from China has existed for many years, so people have kind of grown up with it. People have heard the rhetoric that China wants to unify Taiwan with China. But on the other hand, you know, we have seen a big uptick in the amount of military aggression by China, both here in Taiwan, but also in the South China Sea. If we take these exercises over these 2 days, these are much bigger in scope than we've seen before, and they're also much closer to Taiwan's island, and that is forcing people really to pay attention. And at the same time, Taiwan's government has been talking more about how important its defense is in deterring China, you know, peace through strength, deterrence, deterring China from attacking Taiwan. And they've been telling people here that they have a role to play, you know, battling misinformation and disinformation, being aware about cyber attack, cognitive warfare, and how to be ready in the event of conflict, how to behave if there's air raids, or what to do if they see Chinese movements, Chinese ships, and that sort of thing.
Rik, thank you so much. DW correspondent Rik Glauert there in Taipei.